Morning, everybody. My name is Joe Messino. Some of you know me. Been around. I just found out that one of our audience members here has a client who's 103 years old. That is phenomenal. I love to hear that. And she said, now her legs are starting to get tired and sore. Really? At 103. That's okay. That's okay. It's when you're 43 and your legs are giving out on you that we have problems. We should all be striving for that. One of the big issues that's going to prevent you from getting to 103, if not the single biggest issue that will prevent you from getting to 103, is chronic inflammation. Chronic inflammation. Now, why is it called chronic inflammation? Sometimes it's called silent inflammation because it's something that builds and builds and builds over time in small cellular activity until all of a sudden you have a life event. You know people like that? Did you ever know anybody that, like, out of nowhere? And I know, I can tell I'm torture for cameramen because I move around. I don't stand in one place. But out of nowhere, a life-threatening event, a stroke, a heart attack, something. And you say, where'd that come from? It was building over time. It's building over time, silent inflammation. And it's the #1 cause of heart disease in this country, regardless of what you hear, regardless of what you see on TV, regardless of what you hear even from your doctors. There's only one cause of heart disease. It's inflammation. It's not cholesterol. It's not fat. It's inflammation. Now, heart disease is still the #1 killer in the country, right? Anybody have a family member that they lost to heart disease? Sure, I do. We all do. But we can do something about it. Oh, but it's going to take some work. What's the definition of perseverance? It's right up here on here if you don't know it. Okay? Adhering to a course of action or a purpose without regard to interruption, discouragement, obstacles, or failure. Without regard, because there's going to be those things. But that's the definition of perseverance, and we in this industry have to know that because we have to persevere through all of this mainstream hype and misinformation that's out there. That's our battle call. The American Heart Association, this got to be one of the biggest failures of all time. The American Heart Association said in 1984, 30 years ago, and you'll hear that term 30 years many times from me because I feel that 30, now it's becoming 30 to 40 years ago is when the decline of health in this country actually started. But 30 years ago they said, if we will replace fat in our diet with margarine, if we can eliminate fat from our diet, replace it with margarine and refined carbohydrates. Eat your cereals and your grains because they lower cholesterol. Cheerios lowers cholesterol. If we do that, we will, and then also lower our cholesterol through the use of statin drugs. If we do those 3 things, we will eradicate heart disease by the year 2000. They went on record, the American Heart Association went on record in print with that statement. Who's holding their feet to the fire? Who? Nobody. They went on record with that claim, and it's now almost It's the end of 2014. It's almost 2015, and it's still the #1 killer. What happened to the year 2000 in eradicating heart disease? Because you can't eradicate a disease following the wrong course of action. You can also help increase the disease by doing that. And that's what's happened in this country. Systemic chronic inflammation is the cause of heart disease. Well, perseverance, yes. We are persevering, okay? And we're getting more and more popular, and we're getting more and more people on our side. But to this day, though, 25% of the population is still on statin drugs. 75 million people, maybe more. Think about that number for a second. 75 million people are still on statin drugs. 900 studies prove they have adverse effects, and I refuse to call them side effects because they're not. They're direct effects. When you put a chemical in your body, it produces a direct effect. A side effect is a marketing term to make it sound not so bad. Oh, it's just a side effect. No, it's not. It's something that's going to directly affect your health. You've heard this many times if you've ever seen me talk. Fat is not the enemy. Good fat. Cholesterol is not the enemy. Wow. I mean, you see the reports on the news sometimes about these guys that were wrongly accused of a crime and been in prison 10 years, 15, 20 years. All of a sudden, new DNA evidence comes out to prove that they were innocent. They were wrongly accused. Cholesterol has been wrongly accused as the leading contributor to heart disease for the last 30 years. Here's a statement you'll only hear here. No one makes more cholesterol than they need. Think about that statement and think about all of the marketing campaigns that you see out there against cholesterol. Nobody, not you, not you, not you, unless you are in the very small 1 percentile of people in this country who have a genetic disorder called genetic hypercholesterolemia. If you have that, yes, your liver overproduces cholesterol, but that's the only people that do. No one else produces more than they need. But that's not what the drug campaigns tell you, is it? What do they tell you? You're making too much. We got to stop it. We got to stop it. You're making too much cholesterol. You're eating too much cholesterol. Here's another good quote for you. Dietary cholesterol will not raise serum cholesterol levels. Will not. Eggs will not raise your cholesterol. Shrimp will not raise your cholesterol. It's loaded with dietary cholesterol. It will not raise your serum levels. What raises serum levels? That's what we're going to get to the bottom of. Okay? Diet, lifestyle, chronic inflammation, they are the causes of the single thing that causes your cholesterol levels to go up. Because when the deterioration of the artery walls is affected by your diet and by the chemicals that you consume and by stress, all of these factors in lifestyle, the artery walls then are receptive to the formation of plaque because your body's automatic defense mechanism is to heal those artery walls. Guess what it uses? Cholesterol. But when the condition is systemic, meaning it goes on and on and on and never shuts off, then the healing process never shuts off. and the cholesterol continues to oxidize, to form plaque, and to build up. And then you have the misreading of that symptom as you make too much cholesterol. Okay? Look at these statistics. 75 million Americans suffer from heart disease. Wow. Isn't that the exact same number of people that are on statin medications? Coincidence? No, no such thing. 20 million have diabetes, 57 million are pre-diabetic or insulin resistant, and the age groups keep getting younger and younger. They love to give labels to things in that industry, because now they come up with something called type 3 diabetes. Okay, we know, do you know what they all are? Like type 1 diabetes means that your pancreas has malfunctioned. Okay? That's a physical problem. Your pancreas does not produce insulin. Okay? You do have to take insulin for that. Type 2 diabetes, which used to be called adult onset diabetes prior to 30 years ago, because you never got it till after 40 years of age, but now you're getting it in your 20s, your 30s, 20s. Type 2 diabetes is lifestyle related. Too much sugar. But now we have type 3 diabetes, preteens. That's what they're calling the diabetic nature that is affecting the young children in this country. Yeah, they got a label for it, because when they have a label for it, they can create a drug for it. Okay, you know, you ever hear the phrase, simple, not easy? It's simple, but it's not easy. Okay, you know where that first came from? Pat Riley, coach of the Los Angeles Lakers, had just won his 3rd championship. The reporter said to him, "Coach, you made it look simple." He said it was. It just wasn't easy. Simple in theory, difficult in application. That's what we are faced with today, because we live in this society with what we call the standard American diet, the SAD diet. We are part of this. Inflammation is present in the body because of the standard American diet. You know, if you didn't have this chronic inflammation problem, the cholesterol would just move freely throughout the body the way it was supposed to move, doing its job. It does so many things that we need. You know, cholesterol is the #1 food for your brain. Okay, 75 million people are on statin drugs, and what's the diseases that are on the rise? Brain-related disorders, dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, on the rise because for the last 30 years we have starved our brains of its food, cholesterol. It does so many things. I mean, commercials on TV will tell you everything. We have all the brain disorders, all the drugs for that. We have all the statin drugs, and we have the next big category of drugs for that new disease called low T. New name, new label, old problem. You cannot make testosterone without cholesterol. Cholesterol is the catalyst. If you are stopping the production of cholesterol with these drugs, which is what a statin drug does, stops the production of it in your liver, then you cannot make testosterone. If you cannot make testosterone, you get all these different direct effects. And you have to go on hormone replacement therapy. It goes on and on. Inflammation, like many things, in its root is not a bad thing. It's your body's defense mechanism. It's what happens when you have an invasion. That could be bacterial, it could be chemical, it could be an injury, okay? It could be a trauma to the body. You all know that, right? You get hurt, something swells up. That's your body's defense mechanism. Do you know why you get swelling on an injury? Do you know why? It's a protection. Your body's protecting the injured area. It rushes these proteins into the injured area to protect it, surround it, protect it, to allow your body to heal. So it's a good thing. Astute inflammation that is centered around an injury is necessary for healing. However, what we have done is we have caused these chemical problems in our bodies by ingesting all of these problems that cause a constant flow of small attacking proteins that cause chronic inflammation. You know, where are they coming from? Toxins. You know where you get the most toxins out of anywhere else? In your food. How sad is that? But I don't care, the environment, what you breathe, the air, the fumes, even the chemicals you use in your house. And we all do. Okay, there's not a single person in here that is 100% all natural. Because if there's anything in your house that's in a package, then you're not 100% natural. It's almost impossible to be, right? I know, I'm not. We don't have to be. We just have to be on the good side of the equation. The 80-20 rule. I had my daughter and my grandchildren over for Thanksgiving. And the kids, well, one of them is my granddaughter, then the other are grandkids, but they know me now. You know, they know how I cook, and they know the natural stuff, because when I send food to their house, it's always all natural. They know what it's like. They're starting to learn. And the funny thing is, my one grandson walked into the kitchen, and he saw the dish soap, and it said it was 7th generation, all natural on it. He goes, "Look at that. Even Papa's dish soap is all natural. Everything in this place is all natural." Well, almost everything. But see, the kids can learn. They can learn if we set the examples. This is where it starts. These are the killers: hydrogenated oils, artificial sweeteners, flavors, colors, chemical pesticides, herbicides, plastics, creams. I mean, everything that you have is chemical laden. But the biggest culprits are what you put in your mouth. A friend of mine the other day asked me to give her some nutritional advice. I said, sure. I said, what'd you have for dinner? Yesterday. Oh, I made homemade mac and cheese. Homemade, did you? Really? Good. Tell me what you put in it. She said, well, Velveeta cheese. I said, stop right there. First of all, the word cheese should not come after the word Velveeta, because it's not. It's a chemical. It's manufactured. It's fake. There's no food in there. So see, she thought she was making a homemade meal. She wasn't buying the Kraft mac and cheese. She was making it herself. You see, the perception is what's wrong. That's not homemade. That's chemicals. It's what we eat. And I said to her, there's only 2 things you could put in your mouth. What are they? Food and chemicals. Think about it. Reduce, eliminate the chemicals, and eat whole food. That alone will stop chronic inflammation right in its tracks. The word artificial in front of anything should not be put in your mouth. Anything. The term itself implies it's not real. People say it's too expensive to eat healthy. It's too expensive to eat natural. Really? So let me ask you this. If I was to come to your kitchen and go through your pantry, your cabinets, your refrigerator, and your freezer. Do you think I'd find anything in there that's been there longer than a week? You think? How about 2 weeks? How about a month? Yeah. And the only way it can stay there that long is if it's in some sort of package and probably with some preservatives, chemicals. Exactly. See? You're learning. A preservative is a chemical. So all of these things that you bought that you're not eating when you buy them, you think there's a little waste of money going on there? You think if you eliminated half of that, you'd be able to buy grass-fed beef? Maybe. Oh, organic eggs are so expensive. $3 a dozen. I can get other eggs for $1 a dozen. $3 a dozen. How many eggs in a meal normally? 2? Okay, 6 meals for $3. That's not too bad, is it? 6 nutritious meals for $3, but you'll go to Starbucks and buy one of those pumpkin lattes for $5. It's nothing but chemicals. It's no nutrition. It's not a meal. Spend the $3 for organic eggs, please. Eggs are one of nature's greatest foods. Big bad rap they got years ago. Loaded with cholesterol, loaded with protein, loaded with fat. All good for you. Sunscreens, detergents, come on, the list goes on and on. On and on and on and on. Make an impact. Chronic inflammation is as harmful to the body as acute inflammation is beneficial. That's what I just explained to you, right? You get injured, you have a case of acute inflammation, good for you. Helps the injury heal, right? Systemic, long-term, silent inflammation is the biggest killer we are facing in this country, bar none. So how did it get to such an epidemic? Well, with the exception of smokers who willingly are destroying their bodies, who are willingly causing chronic inflammation, who are willingly causing their blood to deteriorate, who are willingly leaving their body open for everything from inflammation to cancer and heart disease, except for them, the rest of us just followed what we were told. We were told this is the food pyramid. This is what you eat. Eat these refined grains. Eat all of these refined sugars. It's okay. Eat bread. Eat bread. Eat bread. Hey, you got a Thanksgiving meal, right? Turkey, potatoes, vegetables, stuffing. And then a big bowl of dinner rolls goes along with it. Why? There's not enough food there? There's not enough food there that you got to eat a dinner roll too? I mean, they've been telling us to eat bread at every meal, right? Eat a toast with breakfast. Eat your sandwiches at lunch. Have your bread with your dinner. We go to a restaurant. What's the first thing they do? Bring you a bowl of bread. Even if you don't ask for it. We're ingesting all of these refined flours and sugars every day of our lives. That's what's causing chronic inflammation. Whole wheat. Give me a break. Whole wheat's no better than Wonder Bread. No better. Marketing. It's all marketing. It's still ground up, bleached, and stripped of its nutrients. You know, I've been telling everybody for years that, you know, I don't eat bread except for on Sunday when I make my sauce. I got to have a little bread to dip, you know. And the only bread I'll buy, Mancini's. See, you guys have been here before. All right. 6 ingredients, unbleached, unbromated wheat. But you know what? I still feel it the next day. I still feel it because it's still flour. You know, and the less you eat of it, the more it will affect you when you do eat it. Okay, and that's true with a lot of things. But that's what we have to do. We have to reduce it or eliminate it. Yeah, high fructose corn syrup, refined sugars, wash it all down with a Coke. Diet Coke, the healthy alternative. There's no sugar. Okay, now let's just give you a visual here, okay? How do you visualize chronic inflammation? Well, if you took a stiff, coarse brush and rubbed it on your skin on the same spot over and over until it became red and it was bleeding and coarse and ruptured, that is what's happening inside your body to your arteries. That's what chronic inflammation would look like, okay? Visuals always are a good thing to help you understand, okay? But that damage is what cholesterol is trying to heal. Cholesterol is not the enemy. It's trying to fix the problem, which is chronic inflammation. Then there's the diabetes, heart disease connection. That's where sugar comes in. That's where it comes in. Natural dietary animal fat is not the enemy. And folks, I'll tell you, I'm the first one to say it. You know, I am not a vegetarian, but I only eat organic protein. I only eat grass-fed. You know, I go to restaurants. When I go to a restaurant, and I travel a lot, and I work a lot out, and have a lot of dinners with doctors and customers and things. And, you know, even when I go to a great steakhouse, I hope they have lamb on the menu. Because most of the time, even though it's a 5-star steakhouse, the beef is not grass-fed. So I won't eat it. I'll buy grass-fed beef here locally. You can get it at our stores, and I'll make my own steak. But if I have to go out to a restaurant, lamb is always grass-fed. Okay? Lamb is the good alternative. Or fish. Okay? Grass-fed when it comes to beef. It's got to be. Okay. But sugar is the enemy. And we're in the holiday season. And we're going to have cookies, and we're going to have all kinds of treats and things. Because it's the holiday. You know what? That wouldn't even be bad if it was the only time of the year we did it. But we don't. We like our sweets, don't we? Don't we? You know why? Because sugar is more addictive than cocaine or heroin. That's why. That's why we like it so much. Refined sugar, okay, causes the pancreas to secrete insulin. Okay? Now, it does that so that it can drive the sugar into the cell for energy. But when the cell becomes saturated with sugar, it has to dump it back out again. But it keeps producing the insulin. And then it dumps it back out, and what does it do? It stores for to be used as energy later as fat. That's where you get the connection between diabetes and heart disease. Okay? Then that excess fat is a contributor of chronic inflammation. It all works together. Most of the time, you find somebody that has heart disease, they're going to have diabetes as well. Or they're going to be pre-diabetic. They're going to be insulin resistant. Now, this excess sugar that converts to fat, it attaches to proteins that begin the process of this over-inflammatory response. Remember I said earlier that when your body is injured in any way, shape, or form, it floods that area with proteins to protect it and help it heal. But when that process is going on and on and on, that protein process never ends. That's chronic inflammation. Okay? By eating the mainstream diet, we feed this process every single day. We feed it every single day. Think of what you ate over the last 3 days, 4 days, over the Thanksgiving holiday. See, I keep getting smiles up in this front row because we know what we ate, don't we? Uh-huh. Okay, but it was a holiday, you say. Yeah, it was a holiday. If we were following the 80-20 rule, if 80% of the time you were eating a whole food diet without any chemicals, preservatives, additives, sweeteners, processed foods, then by the time when the holiday comes around, go to town, knock yourself out. Because it's the exception. Problem is, most of us follow the 20-80 rule. 20% of the time we say, I better have something healthy. Too late. Year after year after year, okay? Okay, by looking at the crowd, none of us are under 21. Okay? So we've been doing this to ourselves for a long time. And then, you know what you want? Give me a drug to fix this. Give me a drug. I need a new drug. One that won't make me sick. That was a Huey Lewis song. New drug, one that won't make me sick. That's what we want, but the new drug, you know what it is? Food. Hippocrates said, let food be your medicine and medicine be thy food. That's good food she's eating. Okay, whole food. Yeah, whole food. The standard American diet. Okay, here's the other problem. The imbalance between omega-6 and omega-3 oils in our diet. Now, perfectly, ideally, the ratio of omega-6, plant-based fat, and omega-3, animal-based fat, whether it's from animal or fish, that perfect balance should be 3-to-1 in your blood. But because of the overindulgence in vegetable-based oils over the last 30 years, come on, you remember all the commercials for Mazola corn oil, right? We've been using these vegetable oils in everything. And then we made them worse by hydrogenating them, by injecting them with hydrogen to create a semi-solid substance initially before it's liquefied that is a preservative and unknown to nature that your body cannot produce, cannot assimilate, your body cannot use, and it stays, they have proven it stays in your body doing damage, causing chronic inflammation for up to 52 days before you can eventually eliminate it. Margarine. But even the ones that are not hydrogenated, soybean oil, corn oil, and my favorite, canola oil. What's a canola?
Canadian vegetable oil.
Yeah, it's a what's it called? What's that term for something that you take a bunch of letters and make a word out of it? Acronym. Thank you. It's an acronym. It's not a real thing. What is canola oil made from? Anybody know? No. Nope. Did you ever hear of something called a rapeseed? A rapeseed is a poisonous seed that in our environment. If you ate it, it would kill you. But they can refine it to the point where they can make an oil out of it. That's your canola oil. Oh, I love it when you see the term non-GMO canola oil. Really? Okay. It's like the health oil, right? I mean, a lot of places use it, and a lot of they even advertise it, made with canola oil. Forget about it. It's not a real food. Vegetable oils have caused the imbalance to go from 3-to-1 to 30-to-1. An over imbalance like that of omega-6 in the body will produce what? A pro-inflammatory environment, chronic inflammation. See, there's no mystery here because we know where it's coming from. We know where it's coming from. Our diet. What we've been eating for the last 30 years has caused chronic inflammation, has caused heart disease to be out of control, has caused the American Heart Association to be made out to be complete fools. Because if they're not fools, then they're criminals. Because for them to say in 1984 that if we will eliminate heart disease by the year 2000, by eliminating fat in your diet, by eliminating fat and using margarine and refined grains, for them to say that and not retract it and just ignore it, they must be fools. Because if they're not fools, they're criminals because they're killing us. Does that sound harsh? Am I over the top on that? Who said yes? Oh, they were saying yes to somebody else. I'm not over the top. It's the truth. See, you ask some people, what's the number one health problem? Or what's the number one disease? Some people say, oh, it's diabetes. Oh, it's heart disease. Oh, it's stroke. Oh, it's Alzheimer's. It's hypertension. It's all these. No, these are caused by this inflammation. Chronic inflammation causes these diseases. They're a result. They're not the cause. See, that's where we have misunderstood all of this. The disease state is not the cause. It's the result. Yes, sir.
Out of all those oils that you mentioned, which is the best out of
Oils,
any of them?
coconut oil, followed by olive oil. And then any nut oil like macadamia nut or walnut or those kind of oils.
What about grapeseed?
Yeah, grapeseed's good too. I would give you two categories. I'll give you three categories. Coconut oil stands alone. You can do anything with it. Absolutely, positively, anything with coconut oil. Okay, and it's got antiviral properties. It's got antibacterial properties. It's got lauric acid or monolaurin, which is the thing that has the active ingredient that kills viruses. That stands alone. Yeah, but it's good. There's nothing wrong with saturated fat because it comes from a natural source. There's nothing wrong with saturated fat. No, you should have came 40 minutes ago. Oh, no, saturated fat's not the enemy. Fat's not the enemy. No. Inflammation caused by artificial fats, trans fats like margarines and hydrogenated oils and vegetable oils, refined carbohydrates. Somebody pass one of these back to her. Okay, you're welcome. Yes, see, for years they said coconut oil is terrible, bad, it's so high in saturated fat. Why? Because they wanted us to buy the government-subsidized soybean oil and corn oil instead. And that's causing inflammation, okay? Soybean oil, big contributor. So don't ever use it. Stay away from it. Stay away from vegetables, of oils of all kinds. The only oil you want, coconut, then followed by olive oil, and then nut oils. Yes, sir.
Coconut oil, can it be used instead of like butter or?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. You can use it. You can spread it if you're going to eat toast. You could spread coconut oil on it instead of butter.
That'd be far better than margarine also. Right.
Margarine should never exist in your diet, ever. Ever, ever, ever. Margarine is nothing more than liquid plastic. Ever should it go in your mouth. Okay? You don't believe me, take a stick of margarine. You have a garage? You have when the weather changes, okay, it gets warm again, if you want to try something, get a stick of margarine and a stick of organic butter, any kind of butter. Put them outside, in your backyard, wherever. Watch what happens. Okay? after a day or two, half of the butter will be gone. I mean, or more of it, because the animals and the insects will eat it. They won't touch the margarine. They won't touch it. These dumb insects won't eat it. We will. And you know what else will happen? It'll never change. It won't melt. It won't change in structure. It won't change in appearance. It's plastic.
I ate the stuff I get from Chinese. It's yogurt, Rumbles, yogurt, and it looks just like butter or margarine. That's bad also too, I guess, right?
I'm not going to go as far. I don't know what it is, so I won't say it's bad. But what I will tell you is this. You want to eat things in their most natural state, okay? So, you know, purified butter, organic butter, butter from grass-fed cows is fine. Butter is a good fat, okay? But try to get it organic, okay? Less processing. The less processing, the better, always, okay? Yeah.
I was told to lower my cholesterol, especially the LDL, down to maybe 70, and I'll explain why. Dr. Weiner helped me in the end.
Of course.
I have a carotid artery with 70% block. I went to a vascular surgeon at the Cleveland Clinic, and he told me no cholesterol. Now, and I've been watching, when I look at food now, I don't eat anything with cholesterol in it. Is that, well, by the way, Dr. Weiner told me to get Eshelstein's book. I
Yeah.
had switched to vegetarian, and my numbers came down to almost normal for my carotid.
Okay, that's good. But let me,
But do I have to watch?
no,
They told, okay,
no.
okay.
No, dietary cholesterol does not affect serum cholesterol levels. And I'm going to tell you something else. There's no such thing as good and bad cholesterol. That's marketing too. Okay? LDL, HDL, it's all marketing. There is only one cholesterol. Cholesterol is transported from the liver on a lipid molecule. Okay? It transports from the liver on one type of lipid molecule into the body to do its job. And then it's transported back into the liver to be excreted by another type of lipid. One's a high density, one's a low density. These are just the transport mechanisms for cholesterol. There's no such thing as good and bad cholesterol. It's a marketing term to sell drugs. There's only one cholesterol. And even the Cleveland Clinic is guilty of this.
Apparently.
Yes. Okay? So that's all marketing. Oh, you want to get your HDL, up and your LDL down. No, you don't. You don't want to worry about your cholesterol levels if you eat a whole food diet. If you eat good fat and eliminate the sugars and refined carbohydrates, don't even worry about it, because as you age and get over the age of 50, you want your levels to go up. You want your cholesterol levels to be closer to 250 to 300 so that you protect your brain, so that we can ward off Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and dementia, which are at an all-time high. No, the answer is no. There's no such thing as bad cholesterol.
Then I can eat it then.
Yes, eat it. Where am I? Oh, okay. I just want to show you this real quick, okay? It always goes back to diet and lifestyle, right? We know that, okay? We were not designed to consume foods packed with sugars and soaked with these vegetable oils. We just weren't. A tablespoon of corn oil contains 7,280 milligrams of omega-6. Now remember I told you the imbalance of omega-6 to omega-3 is what's causing all this inflammation, and coming from these vegetable oils. Now when you go back here and you find a fish oil, and you take, say, the omega-3D, it's got 1,500 milligrams of omega-3 in 2 soft gels. 1,500 of omega-3, but a tablespoon of corn oil has 7,200 of omega-6 of the bad fat. A tablespoon. Now, can you see and extrapolate from that why we have the problems we have today? Because that tablespoon was consumed 10 times on a daily basis your whole life. Now you see where we get that number, that 30-to-1 ratio, why it's gotten so bad. Oh, all the healthy soybean oil. In every packaged good, you go into that supermarket, I challenge you to find something in a box, in a bag, or a jar that doesn't have soybean oil in it. I challenge you. You won't. 6,900 milligrams of omega-6. It's in every packaged food out there. That's why we have an inflammation problem in this country. That's why. It's not because of good fat. There's no science that proves it either. None that proves that saturated fat alone is bad for you. Absolutely none. Good fat, grass-fed, organic sources. It won't raise cholesterol, and so what? You don't care. The cholesterol level is not the problem. The inflammation in the body is the problem, not the cholesterol.
Would X-Flame help?
X-Flame helps with inflammation that's normally caused by injury, okay? Primarily for injury related. Because see, the chronic inflammation problem we have, it also affects injuries. Because when people get injured, the reason they don't heal fast is because their inflammatory response never shuts off. Whereas X-Flame will help that situation. It will regulate the inflammatory response to the point where it will help with the injury, but not contribute to chronic inflammation. Okay? So yes, but for this, what we're talking about, this is diet related. Okay? This is diet related. Increase omega-3s, increase good fat. Good fat. Inflammation is the cause of heart disease. If you learn nothing else, please, please take that away from today. So what do? How do you live long and prosper? Like Mr. Spock used to say.
Don't drink and don't smoke.
No. Well, half of that is true. Don't smoke. Drink moderately. It's okay. Little red wine, some good organic red wine. Yeah, it's good. Since you asked, you know the old Mediterranean issue with heart disease and all that, you know, and the French paradox, and they think that the reason why they're all so healthy is because of the red wine they consume. Partially true, partially not. Okay, because red wine does contain resveratrol, which we know is a great compound for extending the life of the cells. Okay. However, in a bottle of red wine, commercially produced red wine, in this country, you're only going to get about 1 milligram of resveratrol. That's not much. However, in a bottle of organic wine, you get 500 milligrams of resveratrol. So, if you want to get good wine that'll be beneficial for you, and I'm not saying drink the whole bottle. What's going on over here?
I told her we need to go get a bottle.
You sure do, and then invite me over. I'm not saying you should drink the whole bottle every day in one sitting. But yeah, you can get a lot of resveratrol from organic wine. And over there, their wine is not laden with sulfites. And so they are getting a lot more. And they're probably getting a lot more organic grapes than we are here. See, resveratrol is activated in the skin of the grape when the grape is stressed. And so if a grape is grown organically and allowed to stress naturally to the elements and to invasion by insects and things like that, it will produce a lot of resveratrol, which transfers to the wine. But if a grape is sprayed and not allowed to stress, it'll have very little resveratrol. Okay. So what do? Whole foods, not processed. Grass-fed beef, pastured eggs and poultry. Pastured means free to roam and eat their natural diet, which is insects. Okay, bugs, insects, that's what chickens should be eating, not grain and corn and all this other crap. Okay, wild fish not farmed. Okay, wild. Organic or locally grown produce. In the wintertime, flash frozen vegetables are better. Okay, than fresh. I know you go in the supermarket and you see the aisles of great looking produce. Where did it come from? We ain't growing it here. Okay, by the time it gets here, the nutrient content's gone. Jamie and I on the radio this morning were talking about the magnesium deficiency, and that's because there's no magnesium left in the vegetables because there's none in the soil. So what you have to do is make sure you get, if you can get locally grown, better, but if you can't, in the winter, flash frozen. Good fats, nuts, olive oil, coconut oil, nut oils, avocados. Eat them. I still got my granddaughter started on avocados. She likes to eat them every day. She loves them. What other kids will eat an avocado? I mean, take a kid today that's used to eating McDonald's and try to feed him an avocado. They'll spit it out. They'll say it's terrible. But it's all what you're accustomed to. Cook at home. We were talking about this morning too. We eat out too much. We eat processed, overly processed foods too much. You know, our kids do. Kids ride buses. We walk to school, right? Walked to school, walked home, ate lunch prepared by our moms, walked back to school, walked home after school, went outside, played, went in and ate, went back outside. I mean, that was what we did, but they don't do that anymore. So we got to change. We got to make some little changes to help them along because their environment is causing lots of these problems. Okay, here's a good rule. If it had a mother, grew in the earth, flew in the sky, swam in the ocean, it's okay to eat it. Okay, come on. I mean, look, you're going to hear, if you come, there's proponents of vegetarianism and there's proponents of, I'm an omnivore. I like to eat good animal products. I like fish. I like grass-fed beef. I like all-natural beef. But I eat lots of fruits and vegetables too. I eat everything. And I think you can if you do it right.
But if it has a face, I can't eat it.
Okay. Don't eat it. That's okay. It's up to you. It's fine. But if it has a box, a package, a wrapper, that's just a coffin for a dead food. Isn't that wonderful? I'm not going to leave you on that thought, even though that's the last thing on the slide. But, I mean, try to reduce the amount of packaged foods you eat because really, if, I go back to the old cheese thing, and one of my favorites is American cheese. What is American cheese? How about the ones that are wrapped individually? Yeah. What about that now, do you think that vacuum sealed plastic wrapper is allowing that cheese to breathe? Well, no, because first of all, what's inside it isn't cheese. Okay, go down to Pennsylvania Macaroni down in the Strip District and look at their cheese. It's all out in the open, hanging up. It's there, it's alive, it's good, and it's all white. Because no cheese should be yellow. There's nothing that comes out of a cow that's yellow that you want to eat. So if it's yellow cheese, it's colored.
What about
Food coloring.
frozen vegetables?
That's what I said. They're good.
Okay.
But I'm on cheese now. Are you paying attention?
I am.
Cheese should be white. Do you know that cheddar cheese is white?
I don't eat cheese.
Cheddar cheese is not orange. It's white. And you can get raw milk cheese now. Raw milk unpasteurized cheese. I found it at Trader Joe's. It's phenomenal. Okay? Butter should be very light in color. Yes. Very, very light in color. And egg yolks should be bright orange.
Oh, yeah.
The yolk, bright orange. Okay. So, that is the end of the presentation. But please remember, everything starts and ends with what you put in your mouth. Everything. Okay? Change your diet. You'll change your life. I don't believe in the word diet when it comes to trying to lose weight. It's just a way of life. Okay? Whole foods. Eat real food. Eliminate the chemicals. Live long and prosper. Thank you.
Fred.